Hey everybody, Hassan here.
FusedVR.
And this is Abdo.
And today we're going to be talking about our 2018 predictions for AR and VR. This is actually our second time doing this as a team. And we did it the first time last year when we were getting together at In and Out. So we're going to go over some of our previous predictions, and then we'll talk about some of our predictions for the coming year. And for everyone, we're going to say whether we think it's bold or realistic. So let's get things rolling with the review of our predictions from last year. So the first one that we have, and this one's very interesting. We had Apple announces an AR headset, which we had as bold. I mean, obviously they didn't announce an AR headset, but AR kit, I think, was huge. What do you guys think about that?
I would say, I would still say we were right. We called it bold.
Oh, there's so much to talk about on these. This next one's pretty hilarious because we were totally wrong. It was that we spend a significant amount of time in Unity's VR editor for level design, or really Unreal's VR editor. What we thought is that we would spend a lot of time editing in VR for VR experiences. We said that that was a very realistic prediction. I don't even think that I spent an hour doing that in 2017.
I think I'm right there with you.
Half an hour in Unreal Engine is enough. Like the Unreal Engine VR editor is enough to get you really frustrated. So no.
I will say though, we weren't in engines, but I think with like Google Blocks and Tilt Brush and Medium, they're not quite like level editing, but like you can make assets with them, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, we did do a ton of that.
I think we talked about a 3D like a modeler inside of VR. I think we mentioned that. That's something that could happen.
Yeah, we did.
That was realistic, but the using the game engine editors, oh boy. Oh, well, okay, maybe I spent over an hour, or we had a tutorial on one of them, so that may have done it. But beyond that, I don't think it happened.
Point is, you can't use them daily, so.
Yeah.
All right.
So next up, we had Vive and Rift total sales in history exceed 1 million. We said that's realistic. I'm pretty sure that's happened.
Yeah,
and looking at the rest of these, I don't think there were any that were super interesting. But the last one that I'll mention, because it's a point of debate on the team, is that we don't want to touch Unreal Fusion.
No, you guys don't want to touch it.
I don't think I did. I don't think I did touch Unreal. Thinking about it.
Me neither. But yeah, obviously the team split on that one.
No, but you guys left me at a disadvantage here. Unreal is not for a single guy to be used. You need a team to use Unreal Engine. So if I'm going to end up using it alone, obviously I won't be able to do much with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, should we move into our 2018 predictions?
Yeah, let's do it. So starting off with one of the first ones, this is an interesting one because it's really timely. It was just announced very recently that Magic Leap has a release planned for next year. So here's the prediction. Is it bold or realistic? Magic Leap's release is going to flop in 2018.
I'll start. I'm going to say very realistic that it flops.
Yeah, I already said my answer earlier. Yeah, I think it will flop, unfortunately.
Oh, man. I think it's going to be good, but I don't think that it's going to be that much better than, like, say, AR Kit or AR Core. Like, I don't think it's going to be super buggy. I just think it's going to be very limited, and I don't know if I count that as a flop or not.
Well, I'll tell you, my reason for it being a flop is I saw on Twitter today that Magic Leap said, quote unquote, it's going to cost as much as a high-end laptop. I mean, I think the average cost there is around $2,000. Who is going to buy that for $2,000? I would get it for like maybe a dev kit at a reduced price, but I don't think I would spend $2,000 for it.
Okay, never mind. I changed my mind. Realistic.
I mean that could be wrong. Like my number could be wrong, but like that's kind of what's my thought process there.
Yeah, I had never looked at a price point, but I kind of always assumed that it would be a consumer one. I mean, it's very new news, but yeah, if it's not consumer facing in the sense that like it is like a high-end laptop, then I think the HoloLens is already, I mean, it's not great, but it's good and it will get better, I believe. Next up, we had Apple releases a standalone AR product. I think that one's realistic. I could see it happen.
What do you mean by standalone AR product?
So I mean, right now we have AR kit. It's on phones, but I mean like, I basically mean glasses. I think it could happen.
I'm gonna say bold. Just based on the comments that Tim Cook has said, just like how hard that is, I don't think it'll happen in 2018.
Yeah, but I remember that in 2017, like we would have never predicted mobile AR in the way that it is right now. I mean, we even have it in one of the past predictions. True. I just feel like, I mean, let's keep it going. I want more AR stuff.
They've been betting big on AR. Like Apple has been like preaching AR is the future. AR is the future. I don't necessarily see that being like an AR separate product. More so, maybe they'll be hammering down on AR kit 2018, but I think 2019 would probably be the year where they release a standalone headset or AR, whatever it is.
I agree. Well, I think the more interesting question that will probably stir some debate is, will Apple release a VR headset in 2018?
I don't think so.
I'm going to say no, yeah.
I think I'm torn on that. I know they're partnering with HTC a lot, is what it seems like. They've partnered with ILM Labs. I think it could happen. I'm going to go with realistic. I'm going to go opposite of you guys.
So me and Hassan agree and you disagree. Okay.
Well, yeah. I think the way that happens, like the way that it happens is that they might see that the VR HMD market is super fragmented, which it is. There's tons of things, but there's nobody who's currently offering like a really like nice, comfy consumer version that's like stellar design, super easy to use, just use it at home. Like, and I think a lot of people are going to try to do that in the coming year. And I could see Apple trying to be the place that nails that.
I agree. So we'll see. We'll see if it happens in 2018. I don't know.
Now, moving into the next one, this is the, I mean, it's not a prediction list if we don't have something about Palmer Luckey. So we're opening up the can of worms. Does Palmer releases a VR title in 2018? That's the prediction. Bold or realistic?
What do we mean by VR title here? Do we mean a B2C type of thing or a B2B?
Oh, good question. Let's do both. B2C. Let's do B2C first. Palmer releases a B2C VR title.
Ooh, this one's tough.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I mean, I put this one down and I don't even know what I think.
I think it could happen. There is that slight chance it could happen that Steam or Valve actually just calls Palmer, be like, hey, working on Half-Life 3. Yes. The dream is coming true finally. Half-Life 3 in VR. How awesome would that be?
Yeah, that'd be pretty.
I'm gonna go bold for B2C, realistic for B2B.
For the B2C stuff, I could see him do something like that's like maybe a 1 to 2 minute thing that like he's just super passionate about because that's how Palmer rolls. The question is, I think that I'm torn with is like, I know he could do it, but will he do it? And I think I'm gonna have to agree with you and say bold for B2C, realistic for B2B.
All right, Abdo?
I think I disagree with you guys. I think it's realistic for B2C and bold for B2B.
Well, so the reason I think it's bold for B2B is because he's working on some government project that he's not allowed to talk about. We're realistic. We'll never be able to actually answer whether he released something on the B2B side because it's for the government. But
there you go. I win.
Accurate. Touche.
Moving on, next prediction is the AR cloud will be introduced to mobile AR. Bold or realistic? And maybe FuseMan, a description of what you mean by this one could be good first.
So for those who don't know, and I don't blame anyone who doesn't know because it's very much a niche buzzword, the AR cloud is basically a 3D representation of the world that can get updated in real time. Whether it could either be stored on your local device, it could be stored most likely in the cloud because it's a ton of data, but it basically allows your device to start up right away, know where it is, have positional tracking, and keep things persistent in the real world. So that's high level kind of what I'm talking about with mobile AR. And currently ARKit, ARCore do not support that because they have to initialize every time.
Yeah, I think it's realistic, and it's going to be Google that does it.
I think it's realistic, and it's going to be Snapchat that does it.
Oh.
Oh.
Man, name a different company, Abdo.
I'll say Apple does it.
Yeah.
But honestly, I think Google will do it first, just because they already have similar stuff going on for them in a lot of ways. Similarly, I think it kind of relates to it, like the Chrome OS they did something similar a long time ago.
So the only reason I say Snapchat is because they've shown that they've already done it before. It was in a small case, Central Park in New York City, that if you go there, supposedly it'll always stay in the same place. Of course, Central Park is a very specific part, but it shows they're working on it. I haven't seen really anything outside of that, minus a bunch of smart startups that are working on that. But from the other players, I haven't seen or really heard anything, although I know they're working on it.
One struggle Snapchat could have, just want to add this really quick, is that if they start storing persistent stuff on Snapchat in your world, I think it kind of it seems contrary to what Snapchat's supposed to do. Everything on there is supposed to be impermanent. So I wonder if users would find it creepy. But I do totally agree that, it's reasonable to expect that they could pull it off. I just wonder how users will respond when stuff starts being a lot more permanent.
That's a good point.
I agree with that. Yeah, that's a good point. That's the reason I think I named Google, because their experience with the cloud from before. Cloud tech I think Google does it very well with the cloud tech. It's very secure. It's already there, very accessible. But you brought an interesting point, Vasant. I think Snapchat with their AR is a little more advanced, but what Hassan said is also applicable.
I agree. Yeah. It's a prediction, right? We'll see what actually happens in 2018. But I think we're all on the same page that it's going to happen in some form or the other.
Yeah, totally. Okay, we're going to close this out with two more predictions. So we got, the first one is Valve releases a new VR title. So that could be a Half-Life 3, a Portal 3, or some other original title in VR. Bold or realistic? Bold, that's my vote.
Bold, okay. I'm going to say realistic, but also only on Portal 3. Half-Life 3 is the limbo of predictions. People have been predicting Half-Life 3 ever since Half-Life 2 was released.
I'm going to say very, very realistic. I don't know which one it'll be. I'm just going to say that Valve will release something. And the reason I say that is because we've been waiting on Vive 2.0, which my prediction there is that's going to be the LG headset. And they will need some sort of big major content to go with that to sell headsets. If it's any one of Half-Life 3, Portal 3, that headset will be sold extremely, extremely well. And I think that might be one of the reasons why we haven't seen an LG headset just yet.
FuseMan is going for the safer option, casting a white net.
Yeah. Well, I think it's still some people would still say it's pretty bold to say that Valve is going to release anything in 2018, but I think it's very, very likely.
All right.
Well, I think that the last prediction that we have, there's just no way to be safe about this because it's so, that's just wild right now. So here's the concept. We're gonna say that HiFi will make the HFC token public, which is what you can use in HiFi for transactions. But we're taking that as a truth, which may or may not be true. But assuming that it happens, that token becomes public and it can be traded, what is the price per token?
All right, so I was telling you guys before $100, but I think I'm going to change my mind here. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna drop it by a factor of 10. I'm gonna say $10, $10 per token.
But is it like the end of 2018? That's what we're predicting.
Let's go for that. Like when we do this video for 2019, we'll see what the actual price is, assuming it actually came out.
I'm gonna say in the range of 500, just to be safe. I'm going to buy 10,000 units of it.
I threw something at a wall where I had numbers written up and it hit a 1, so I'm gonna go with $1 per token. I think that's as accurate as we can be. That's probably.
Okay. I think that's fair. I think it's fair, especially if they're trying to match the dollar. But I don't think they will be. I think it'll go a little more than that. But we'll see. It's all pure speculation.
Okay, cool. I mean, gosh, we have covered a ton of stuff. So we talked about the Magic Leap release. Is Palmer going to release a title? Valve maybe releasing a title. Maybe they'll do it together. I mean, who knows? There's tons of stuff. And it's fun for us to make the predictions, but definitely want to see what everybody else thinks. So definitely leave a comment. Like this video, subscribe if you haven't. All right, everybody. Well, I'm Hassan.
I'm Abdo.
Fuse Man, come Nacha.
And we'll see you next time.